Hi, I'm Carl Mundorf, Executive Director of Innovation Entrepreneurship at Oregon State University. And today we're talking with newly promoted professors who have engaged in innovation and entrepreneurial activities as part of their academic work and how this has affected their career and tenure paths. Our first professor is Dr. Dana Sanchez from the College of Agricultural Sciences. Dana, welcome and thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, congratulations on achieving full professorship.
I appreciate that. It's quite a milestone.
Could you just take a little time and briefly introduce yourself, including your academic background and the type of research that you do?
Absolutely. So Dana Sanchez, a newly promoted full professor. I'm in the Department of Fisheries, Wildlife, and Conservation Sciences. And I am a professor. I'm also our OSU Extension Wildlife Specialist, which is a rather non-traditional position. It's one that's rich in opportunities. It feeds in well with the opportunities to innovate.
Excellent. So can you share your experience working toward this latest promotion while also engaging in innovation, entrepreneurship, and/or industry collaborations?
Absolutely. I've learned so much through the programming that has been offered to me, and a whole new way of thinking about being a scientist, a researcher, and somebody engaged in extension outreach, integrated science and outreach, getting the information out to other people, and also engaging the public and our broader stakeholders in all the parts of our mission here. I would say in terms of my promotion trajectory in my career, it came as a perfect segue into that next chapter of what might be possible and new and innovative ways of thinking, again, about doing my work.
Excellent. Appreciate that. So could you also speak to which OSU Advantage programs or processes that you engage with, which might include invention disclosures or some of the other programs?
Yes, I initially entered the Iterate program, and I actually reiterated, so I did iterate twice, and then I got to do Accelerate and learned even more. And when I initially encountered the programs, I was thinking about a new, essentially a better mousetrap, but really focused on burrowing voles to help organic growers and other growers in the Willamette Valley that are troubled by vole populations, but that can't use things like zinc phosphide and other toxic baits. Where I'm coming back in, I'm working through, and that involved filing an innovation disclosure, that whole process, as well as the skills and the perspective of pitching ideas to potential supporters and funders is something that I didn't learn as a scientist originally, certainly not as an applied scientist in wildlife ecology. And as I've come back into working with the center and the division, I've been engaging in the MOXIE program, not only benefiting from all those skills that I gained initially, but then expanding my mentoring network. And now I'm working on a whole suite of projects, and that's really blending in with the Research Advancement Academy and the Fellows program. So all of those things have been very rich for me.
That's excellent. So how did these programs or processes influence the way you think or approach your research? And did your engagement in the programs contribute toward your promotion achievement?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of how I think about what's possible, what kinds of questions I might undertake as a researcher and an applied researcher is thinking about immediately applicable tools, techniques, really bringing the community questions and problems in to inform how I use my ecological knowledge to think about potential research or innovation pathways. So right now, as I mentioned, I'm working on a whole suite of pilot projects, all of them aimed to find solutions for growers, initially in the Willamette Valley of Oregon, but also more broadly applicable. Things like cyclic populations of voles that disrupt agriculture are problems that people encounter throughout the Northern Hemisphere. And trying to think about it from their perspective of what they actually need, as opposed to being driven mostly by what we might call purely scientific questions or purely traditional management questions, where the end point would be a journal article.
Gotcha. All right, thanks for that. So how did your department head or dean feel about your participation in these programs?
Both my department head and my dean have been very supportive. My associate dean for research has been incredibly supportive, as well as our college's dean, to the point of helping support some of my pilot projects in this next stage of innovation. My department head sees it as being just a new and innovative way to carry out that multi-pronged position as an extension wildlife specialist with a researcher component.
Gotcha. So were any of your students involved in this project, and if they were, how did it affect their career path?
At this point, I haven't had the opportunity to involve graduate students. I did involve a summer research fellow. We have a program in the Department of Fisheries, Wildlife, and Conservation Sciences called VIEW that is helping onboard and catalyze career entry by traditionally excluded and underrepresented folks in our field. And so I got to work with her in getting her not just fieldwork experience, but also meet people in labs ranging from the veterinary lab to a genetics lab to agronomists working in the field with drones to do remote sensing for growers.
Gotcha. And so how was did the involvement in these programs affect your promotion opportunity?
I think it did. I had already achieved my first promotion, and going up for full, I think what it did is it showed that I had further trajectory and growth even beyond that promotion.
Excellent. So were there any misconceptions or barriers you faced regarding tenure and promotion while working on these innovation entrepreneurial projects? And if so, how did you overcome those?
Well, frankly, I'm not aware whether there were any concerns about it. The timing for my promotion trajectory probably made it so that it wasn't going to tip things one way or the other. But I will also say that being an extension specialist and researcher already poses quite a challenge in promotion, tenure, and then further promotion, in that people from traditional academic backgrounds don't always know how to evaluate the products that we create. And I would say that I had some cover from my department head, my associate dean for extension, and even my own P&T committee in writing letters to broaden the view of external reviewers to see the full inclusion of products on which I work and why the importance and value of doing professional development in these areas was congruent with my missions.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So what would you say to fellow researchers about the benefits of participating in OSU Advantage programs or engaging in innovation entrepreneurial activities?
I would encourage people to get involved early and often, and also to get their students involved, especially their graduate students. There are so many things I learned even as early as Iterate that are not in conflict with how we're socialized as scientists, but they're important things of which to be aware. particularly the scientific socialization is to go to conferences and tell everybody about your ideas and where you stand. And what I learned through the accelerator programs is do that, but also be thinking ahead of time to which parts of your innovation need to be shared in a measured rate.
Gotcha. Well, thank you again, Dr. Sanchez, and congratulations again on achieving full professorship.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in and sharing.
All right.